Skål! Chieftain Ralph here, with Hairseer Radulfer, if you want to get all technical. What's been going on, YouTube land? So, I haven't been around for a couple weeks. Explain that. Bought some new camera equipment. Say this whole thing's just for funsies when I feel like rambling and ranting at you good folks. Still wanted some decent equipment to do it with. Didn't buy a new camera. Got a tripod, a light, a microphone. Tripod being the big important thing so my wife doesn't have to stand there filming these. The microphone I was really excited for so I could talk a little softer, maybe not have to yell as much or worry about my sound coming through. Filmed a good long video. Someone left a comment, they wanted me to talk about tents. Wasn't sure if they meant modern reenactment tents, tents in period, what they're made of, this, that, and the other thing. Did a good long video, covered a lot of bases. The microphone didn't work. The microphone I bought doesn't even have a light to tell you whether or not it's on. Interesting thing about that is I thought that only happened to Welsh Vikings. I didn't know what happened to Italian American Vikings as well. The film, the whole thing didn't work. Really took the piss out of me. I mean, wind right out of my sails. So, kind of bummed for a couple weeks. Plus life going on, some other stuff. Haven't been around. I'll rehash some of that video today. I want to talk about some other stuff going on, some new toys. You know me, I gotta buy toys every once in a while. A huge shout out to Walrus if you get to watch this and see this. It's a good friend of mine. He got me a new banner behind me. It's a nice banner. I forget where he got it from. It has the Vidrisier, the Viking compass, or the way home compass. 100% period. Come at me. It's nice, and he got it for me in kind of selfish reasons. He's sick of looking at a plain wall, and he likes watching these. So I also threw up our house banner is back there, our battle banner. So that way you guys don't have to look at a plain wall. Of course, on my wife's battle spoon. I don't know what of that any of you can see. Maybe you can't see any of it, and I'm just pointing out a frame. We'll find out later. So, tents. Quick rehash. Tent frames. Probably didn't have them. We know the Osberg burial and the Gokstad burial were ship burials. They have tent frames on there. It seems more likely that the tent frames were used aboard ship. Logically, if you're going on campaign and marching somewhere, you're not bringing your tent poles. For those who do camp with period tents, you know it's 3 to 12 poles. You got to carry the poles, the heavy canvas, the this, that, the other thing, the stakes. You're not bringing all that with you. Canvas. Did they have canvas? We know they had canvas. They had the ability to make linen fabrics. It takes more to make linen than it does wool. Watch a video on that. Go see how wool's made. Linen comes from flax. It's plants. To turn plants into fibers is harder. To shear a sheep, it's not easy to make wool. We know most of their sails are made of wool. Their tents are probably made of wool. Your average campaigning Norseman, medieval Scandinavian, on campaign it was, hey, we're going Viking, we're going on campaign, we're going to war, we're going to this, that, or the other thing. You probably just grabbed a big wool blanket, slept under it if it rained, slept over it if it was warm enough. That was also your cloak. People like to talk about Viking cloaks, late period reenactors like their clasps and everything. We know these mostly the fibulas in Viking period. Your blanket was your cloak, was your tent, was your bedroll, was a lot of things. It's waterproof naturally. You put your crap in it, you unroll your crap. You probably had two, one for your crap in it and one to use. Makes more sense. If they're going to make a big sail out of wool, you'll make your tent out of wool. There is a town, of course now I forget the name. If you watch the video with no sound, I pronounce it. It was essentially a temporary town set up in the longest fjord in Norway, where they would dig in and then have temporary tent-like roofs. Lirdefini? Lirdfinen in the Schönen. I don't remember. Google it. That was more than likely wool roofs, wool tents. A-frames, probably not. The A-frame was designed to be a sturdy, steady shape to be used aboard ship. If you're setting up next to the ship, the little merchant, you're a merchant vessel, potentially you brought the frame off. If you had thralls, hey, pick up my tent thralls, put it over here, put the wool over it. Why do we use canvas? Because now canvas is easy to make, easier than wool, it's cheaper than wool. We'll use it, it's sturdy, it's durable, it's reenactorism. Is that a bad thing? Of course not. We use A-frames because we want everyone to know that this is the Viking encampment, right? That's a big thing with reenactorisms. Are they bad? No, because when you're reenacting Viking or Norse, or you want to be technical, you say, I'm a 9th century Swede. Well, I'm a 10th century Dane. Cool. In the grand scheme of things, everyone's just going to call you a Viking reenactor, but we still want to be able to know you're the Viking reenactor. I'm the Viking reenactor. You know, neck torques, really a thing. Probably not, more of a Celt thing. They become associated with the Vikings. A lot of us reenactors like to wear them. Linen garb, great stuff. Love it. It's reenactorism. They had linen. They said they knew how to make it. It was mostly used for undergarments, to the best of our knowledge. We could be wrong on that. Seems to make logical sense that they would. We wear them over. Why? Because in upstate New York this time of year, for some reason, it's 90. It's actually usually in the 70s. It's a strange year. But the point stands. So, reenactorism's not a bad thing. We'll talk more about them in another video. But when you're doing a reenactment, you want everyone to know what you are. You want something recognizable. If your tent looks like an A-frame, everyone's going to know you're trying to do Viking reenactment. If your tent looks like a Roman tent, a wall tent, that's probably a little more standard, especially if you're setting something up to stand a while and you want to maximize your space. You see, generic medieval reenactors don't like the A-frame, so they don't maximize space. It's a legitimate thing, you know. Still not a bad thing. You want everyone to go, you're the Viking. You got the Viking tent and the nice linen Viking tunics and your Viking hat and your Viking torque and your Viking Thor's hammers, which they did find everywhere. The Thor's hammer's pretty good, but not a bad thing, just a thing. So what have I been up to? Have been doing a bit of fighting, which has been fun. We got to have a couple practices, I think, since the last time we spoke. Maybe just one. Maybe I'd practiced, then did a video, then practiced. I don't think so. I had a new sword. I had my Purple Heart Armory sword. I finally got to use it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's still very light, but I get a lot of control with it. Remember, we're doing the Western style, or the Huskarl style. I had a good friend of mine call out another group. He said that they do Western style because they're pussies. Well, I don't think I'm a pussy, and I have fun with it, so it is what it is. But that's what we do with the lighter sword. Gives me good control. It's just fun. So I bought another one. You can probably tell, well, they look the same. Same style. What's the difference? The new one's heavier. That's about it. Heavier, more material. It's made for the Eastern style, the smash and bash. Another friend that says the EMP, HMB guys just roided out Russians. I don't believe that either. That looks like a lot of fun. I hope to give that a shot someday. We're just not there yet. You got to start somewhere. I'm going to start off a pussy and end up a roided out Russian. Could happen, who knows. I bought two of these because I couldn't tell which style I liked. They have a three-lobed pommel, which is the recognizable Viking, although I think most of those, as far as recognition, are five-lobed. Interesting note, it's heavier. I thought that they just would cut material off of their half-acorn pommel, as they're sometimes known, to make it lobed, but I think it is just a different pommel they peen on there. By the way, both of them still rough peen. Still a rough peen. I just really like saying that. I don't know why. Both of them are rough peen, but it is a different type of pommel. It does add weight to it, which the weight being down in the grip still gives you the control. It is heavier though. I notice it more. Highly recommend both. Again, I got to fight with my lighter one. It was a lot of fun. I was pretty hungover when I was doing it. Don't fight hungover. Not for safety. It just kind of takes something away from the day. But still did it. Still had fun. Still recommend the light ones. Recommend the heavy ones. Depending on your personal preference. Try them. Read the weights. I don't know. I can't even give a good guess on the light versus the heavy. Read what they are. Pick up something of a similar weight. See if it's what you want to swing around all day. And then buy one. I again, bought both. I think I'm going to keep the old style, the one that matches my light one. I like that look. Probably going to sell the big one, or the other one rather, because I'm not made of money. I'm Viking rich, not real people rich. Viking rich because I have 30 gallons of mead and a bunch of spices and a fancy torque. Not real people rich, probably going to have to sell one of these swords. Speaking of mead, I got another 20 pounds of honey. I'm going to throw together another batch of mead. I've decided that's going to be... I'm going to try it again. It never goes great, but it never goes bad. I'm going to try to make another lemon mead. I know. Everyone says the one you made, your first batch ever, was the most amazing batch. And there was a secret ingredient in that I'm not going to tell the world right now. Come hang out by the campfire. I'll tell you the whole story some night. Not going to get into it. Let's just say it's nothing I'm going to use again. I tried another batch once. It wasn't bad. It just didn't taste much like lemon. It was just honey. It was a bad, very faint lemon. I want that lemon. I want it to be not artificial lemon, but I want it to be lemon. We'll get there. We're going to try it again. Local beekeeper Ray, High Wire Honeybees. If you want to buy honey, or honeybees as he sells. You want to start your own apiary? Ray at High Wire Honeybees. Highly recommended. Didn't sponsor this video, although maybe I can get him to do it. Gonna make a bunch of mead out of this honey. Use his honey. I use Sunswick Farms. Always sounds very... Sunswick Farms for all your honey needs. Brooke's over there. I buy a lot of honey from her because she'll sell me the buckets. I understand why a lot of people don't. They make more on the little ones. You get the yuppies and the yippies at the farmer's market that'll pay $13-20 for a little jar. I want to pay, $200 for a 5-gallon bucket, and then they break it out in their math and they go, that's not enough money. But I smile at them and they do it anyway. Less so Ray. That's why I go with Sunswick. My smile doesn't work on Ray. So, we're going to make some more mead. We're going to do some more fighting. We're going to have some more fun. Oh! I forgot about this sword. I may already own too many swords. This one, this was an interesting one. I expected a made in China hunk of something or other. I got a made in India hunk of something or other. Is it bad? No. The intriguing thing was it was $200. Not Northern Traders. They're a real company. The Northman's something market. I don't know. Everything's made in India. It's a pretty cool reproduction. The sheath is a wood cord leather. My other one was just a piece of leather for $100. So I priced it kind of on that. The whole thing was $200. So I figured $100 sheath, $100 sword. What did I get? I got a $100 sheath and a $100 sword. So the sword's heavy, it's beefy, it's chunky. It's profiled like a Viking sword. I actually took a bit of the tip off. I was thinking maybe I could use it for reenacting fighting, but it's thin. I mean, it's made as a real-ish sword. Real enough sword. I whacked it on a log a few times, didn't twist. My buddy Ulfer was actually able to bend it on his belly, which I'm actually just more annoyed that he bent my sword, especially after it didn't bend when I whacked it on a log. But I figure I'll just keep whacking it on the log till it straightens out. It works like that, doesn't it? If you can see that at all, it's very decorative. It's nice. It is heavy. It's beefy. It'll work well enough. If you're to take this to battle, it'll at least survive one battle, I would believe. If you're looking for a good wall hanger or dress sword, I like to say parade sword. It's a very nice parade sword. It came semi-sharp as advertised. It says semi-sharp. Some of the comments and complaints are you can't sharpen it. I actually tried to take the edge it came with off of it, and that did pretty good. I'm fairly confident I can get an edge on this, and I am going to give it a shot. Because what do I got to lose? It's already not sharp. The sheath was the most interesting part. So, the style of sheath, you guys don't know Ruslan, or some of you do know Ruslan. He makes sheaths. He makes beautiful sheaths. Puts a lot of work, thought. It's corny. He puts heart into his sheaths. Wood core, leather wrap sheaths. This is one of his styles of wrapping and tying his sheaths. Not only that, he does the flaps at the top. And this is really going to be hard to see, but he wraps his leather, his trade secret, in there. Which this came with. So my conclusion is, he is so good at making sheaths, there's now a cheap Indian knockoff of his beautiful sheaths. And this is it. And I accidentally bought it, instead of just asking him to make me a sheath. Of course, I don't have a super nice sword. The goal was to have a super nice sword someday, give it to him, he'll make me a sheath, I'll give him money, and then I have a nice sheath and a nice sword. I took the shortcut on this one, and you get what you pay for. But it's interesting because he has pictures of these up on his Facebook, his personal Facebook. He doesn't have an Etsy. He doesn't have a shop, an internet, online, anything. And someone found his personal page, seemingly, allegedly, took all his pictures, gave them to a shop in India, and said, make this. And they did. They did a decent job. It's chunkier and beefier. Each one's not made to each sword individually handcrafted like his, but for a mass-produced sheath, this is worth $100. I'm impressed. And it does fit the other swords in it. It's real leather. It's not the best leather, but it is real leather. Oh, that's reality. I shouldn't have done that on live camera. It doesn't necessarily hold these swords. Other profiled Viking swords. It's not the best leather. It's okay leather. I had to fix the strap a bit so it actually fit. It's made for someone just a tad larger than me. I'm not going to say, it's made for someone 300 pounds. Made for someone just a tad larger than me. It isn't angled. It's not period. It's just really cool. Yeah, I'm not going to say I recommend it. I'd say if you had a need for a parade sword and you had $200 lying around burning a hole in your pocket, go for it. If those conditions are not met, I wouldn't recommend it. If you're looking for a really nice sword on a budget, well, that's debatable. If you're looking for just a really nice sword, buy another one. If you're looking for a nice budget sword for a parade and you had the money, go for it. Right, buddy? Right. So that's about all I got. Again, I filmed a whole other video. It was longer. Yeah, microphone didn't work. A little upset. We got it to work. I say we. My wife got it to work because she's smarter than me. I might throw some of that video at the end of this. If there's some no talking at the end of this, maybe I'll do some music or something. Then I've decided to put it on there. If it's not there, I didn't, and you don't get to see it. I also kept thinking for the past couple weeks I was going to do like a voiceover for it or something and then release it, and it just never happened. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's all I got. Chieftain out.